The UK has voted out.
The British people have voted to leave the European Union, and their will must be respected.
The total number of votes cast in favour of leave was 17,410,742.
I think we can be very proud of the result.
We had a future here. I need a new dream.
I actually voted out for one of the reasons is, I mean, we've been in it for such a long time now. I thought to myself, well, let's vote out, let's see where we go.
I shall still go about my daily business, I shall still work, I shall still carry on having holidays, and we'll see what happens.
The pound has lost value, it's the worst it's been for 30 years.
I do not think it would be right for me to try to be the captain that steers our country to its next destination.
One of the top Google searches in the UK, what is the European Union?
Study with Additti. My name is Additti and this channel is dedicated to revision tips and tricks along with much more to help make your schooling life a whole lot easier. Today we're actually going to be doing a video on Brexit since it's a current topic right now, and I've actually got a friend with me named Vanessa.
Hi guys.
And we're going to be doing this as a sort of mukbang, I think that's how you pronounce it. So we have McDonald's with us and we've even got these British flag
which is going to be cancelled really, but anyway.
But yeah, so just going to get into it. We have some notes, so we're just going to start. It's going to be like a ranty sort of video. We're going to try and be as unbiased as possible, but we'll see how that goes. So the subjects that I do related to like this topic are economics and geography, so I'll kind of be bringing my knowledge from those subjects into this video.
So when it comes to food side, while we're here, you know, we should probably mention that prices are gonna skyrocket for imports from the EU. And obviously, blueberries are already like £3 a punnet, let's be real. How much higher can it get? Trust me, it will get worse. That's a con, but I don't know if you've heard that they've made like 40, or supposedly they're about to sign 40 new trade deals as soon as we leave the EU with countries outside. So
that's interesting. So then that's a pro.
Yeah. Well, so far they've only signed 4, but they've supposedly set up 40. But the thing is, obviously they won't sign all of them. But even if they were to sign, you know, half, that would still be great because, like, it means that we are prepared for this, you know. And this is obviously outside of food. This is more like companies, big shareholders doing this. So at least we'll have that.
There's also costs to like small business owners because like while the TNC's transnational companies, like the big companies, while they can afford to have higher like costs for things, small businesses can't.
I mean, you even see Goldman Sachs is trying to get the average person to invest in their bank now. Like, yesterday I went to the cinema and explain to me why I saw Goldman Sachs advert.
Wow, okay. That's new.
Like, saying, oh yeah, you can invest anything from £1. Like, what? They're huge, but yeah. You can see, even the big companies are getting a bit desperate.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that's probably gonna mean more for you other than food, right? Your, you know, uni tariffs. See, they've proposed removing the uni cap, fee cap. So, where they'll usually charge you £9,000 and a 250, yeah. Then now they could charge you 11 grand, they could charge you 50, they could charge you however much they want.
Isn't that for international students though?
Yes.
From the EU?
From the EU. Obviously, if your notes and stuff are printed in the EU, that's going to cost you more. If you want to get like bedding, that's going to cost you more. It's just an all-round
annoyance.
Yeah.
Basically. Go on.
The Erasmus project might get cancelled here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you know more about that?
So basically, it doesn't allow British students to have like an exchange program with a European university, and that can't happen anymore.
Or at least it'll be a lot harder, because then you need to have visas and stuff.
Because obviously you're restricting the free movement between the UK and the EU. So it's a bit like, yes, you can go over there for your exchange program, but it's going to get a lot harder, as Vanessa said. So, like, obviously that limits the number of people taking part.
I'd say, like, limits possibly, like, job opportunities, because with Erasmus projects, a lot of students go to maybe improve their language skills, or because other places in Europe have maybe better facilities for certain things. So that's really going to go downhill. But then again, perhaps it means that the UK will be able to make more money out of people coming here. So, you know, tariffs go both ways.
Like, from a geography point of view, it prohibits globalization. So, like, because you're not allowing students from the UK to go to different countries and, like, learn their cultures, languages. So it's kind of like the opposite of what the world is trying to move forward to.
And obviously, if we look into the UN's, like, you know, 50 main like
goals,
then obviously it does go against it again, because it's like, you know, it's trying to integrate every society into each other, and, you know, bring about maybe world peace. And this is really going to hinder that, I think, because obviously if you're not aware of, as you said, other people's cultures, you're going to be less open to them, maybe.
Ignorance.
Let's talk about your teachers, because that's a big point as well. You've probably had at least one foreign teacher in your school at some point. So, you know, how's that really going to affect them? If they can't work here, then who's going to teach you? And I'd say maybe for languages, especially how we both, you know, do such did at A-level especially.
She dropped German, I still do French. So.
Sorry guys. But obviously, especially for languages, I think it's going to be a lot harder to learn, maybe, because if you have non-native speakers teaching you, it's, you know, they won't be as good. And if you decided, oh, maybe I want to live in whatever country, then it's going to be a little bit harder.
But again, that doesn't affect all, like, foreign people living in the UK. So we're both foreign, and it doesn't mean that we're going to go back to, like, our home countries. I'm a British citizen. Are you?
Yep.
So, like, it doesn't affect us.
So people who weren't born here and people who haven't yet claimed British citizenship will find it a lot harder to stay here. And if they do want to, they'll obviously have to go through the process of obtaining British citizenship and then the passport, which is a whole long process, which is going to get even, you know, harder to get through.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it affects everyone, but it does affect quite a lot of people, especially for, like, schools in London. A lot of them teach minimal languages. So, like, I've heard of schools that only do, like, one language. Our school does 6, but, like,
I've actually heard of schools that don't do any languages.
And it's like, you're really prohibiting that with this whole Brexit thing.
I mean, so you're saying that the situation is already bad enough as it is? I take it. So, I don't know if you've heard about this, but China and Sweden are basically becoming, like, extreme surveillance states. And obviously, like, China is closed off, but Sweden isn't so much, so maybe the UK will become a bit more like China in that, you know, where people aren't allowed to enter so much, so maybe up security by upping surveillance, and I think that could easily go into, you know, the private sphere very easily. So especially with, say, Alexa and Cortana and Google Home, like all of those kinds of things, like, they're already in your life, and okay, they hear you talking when they hear commands, but they must hear you at other points. So, like,
that's an interesting point, actually. Yeah.
We already see it being used for marketing. Don't know if you've, like, you know, if you Google Game of Thrones and then go on Instagram, all of a sudden you're gonna see, like, all of those adverts pop up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think.
There's definitely, like, some tracking going on. like through Alexa,
Conspiracy theories.
through those sort of things, and also through your internet searches too.
Here's my point. It's going to get a lot worse in that where they're going to up security, they're going to up obviously, you know, cameras and, you know, video recorders in public places. So how's that going to affect you? Well, you're going to get bombarded a lot more with this kind of invasion of privacy, and I think that's I don't think that's much of a good thing, although I guess it could be better for security. That's just my view.
Okay, so like talking about universities, there's a lot of pros and cons for Brexit for universities, but I think almost all universities are like remain for Brexit. They don't want to leave the EU.
Well, it makes sense. After everything we said with Erasmus breaking down, for example, there's also, you know, if you want to study in Europe, it's going to get harder.
I guess, but like universities benefit from that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, the Erasmus program has broken down,
but now they can charge you if you want to. Yeah. Well, charge you more.
But I think it's mostly the fact that the EU brings in money for like research and stuff for universities, and they're not going to get that fund anymore. But then other people say because of not paying the EU membership fee, we can build a bigger budget for funding our own sciences.
Here's where the issue is though. How much money did we promise the EU as a leaving fee? Point is, it's a huge number, so yeah, that's not going to work out well.
Initially, yeah.
No, I mean, the thing is, everything will stabilise, but the initial years are going to be the worst years, which is roughly the time that we're going into uni, obviously.
Yeah, it is.
Here's another point. See, I'm a potential student of, you know, European unis, so it's going to be a lot harder to apply. And obviously, currently the benefits of going to European unis are that they usually require lower grades. And okay, that's a great thing, but like if you're part of the European Union, they'll only charge you what they charge the students of the country. So, for example, if you're going to live in Holland and going to study there, they'll, like, in some unis it's free, so for you it will be free. But obviously with Brexit, you're no longer part of Europe. So we can only hope that they won't charge you stupid amounts.
Even if you're in school right now, you have to think about going to uni. And even if you're in uni right now, you have to think about getting a job in the future, which may not be so far away. So, because of the fact that there is a loss of free movement between the EU and the UK, there are less jobs to go around, because obviously we can't go there freely and get a job if we can't find one for our certain skill set here. So that like limits the number of jobs that we could get.
That's obviously within the UK and outside it. You're going to be able to expand your cultural awareness as much as we said earlier. Definitely going to hinder you, but obviously where we do live in such a multicultural society, maybe it won't be so bad. I think it might affect Europe a bit more than it will affect us in terms of, you know, expansion of globalisation, as you said earlier. That when Theresa May obviously started her negotiations, the way she started negotiating was for a hard Brexit. She just assumed that that's what the people wanted, and I think that was right of her, personally. Obviously, in the long run, it might be easier, you know, for people to cope with a hard Brexit rather than a soft Brexit.
Yeah, because otherwise it's kind of like a
the lines become blurred.
Yeah.
So even if it were to go the other way, it wouldn't necessarily be better.
So like in the past there have been many events where certain people have tried to impose certain things, for example like certain laws. So like I think it was Tony Blair in 1997, he wanted to scrap taxes in a certain area, but he couldn't because the EU said that they had to negotiate at 5%, which now the EU is out of the picture. They could probably bring that idea back and start to work on it again.
It's happening no matter what at this stage, and the question is, how prepared are you for it? And you're probably more prepared for it than you think. Although, even though you do see the odd person stacking, you know, huge amounts of water bottles and toilet paper in their closets just because they think it's going to be that bad.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. With Brexit, people are focusing more on the things that we won't be allowed to do, that they're not focusing what we will be. So without having to ask the EU's permission, we could, you know, build more solar farms, for example, or wind farms, or any number of things that could help, you know, the global climate change. Also be able to help ourselves more, i.e. with the NHS. We'll be better at pushing for investing more in the NHS, because at the moment it is very, very stretched in different, in certain areas, not just in, you know, places like geography-wise, but also in terms of medicine. So, for example, mental health units don't get nearly enough funding as they probably need to run. So, if, you know, it's a softer Brexit, we could save more of that money perhaps and go
EU membership fee.
Yeah,
right.
Save more of the EU membership fee and go into and invest that into the NHS. This scheme in place, which is basically prevent diseases and illnesses before you have to go into hospital. So I think prevention will get a lot more investment.
However, everything we've said in this video, there are all sources claiming to say the opposite, and I think that it really depends what side you decide to take this from. You may think that you might not have bias in your mind, but you probably do. That's a human thing to have. And I think when looking at the fact, try and consciously think both ways and make your decisions based on that. That's generally, honestly.
It's. I think also you should definitely consider how it's going to affect other people, not just you. Because obviously, I think that's the main issue with the older generation voting for Leave, for example. They think more how it's, you know, going to affect them rather than how it's going to affect, you know, people like us, because they're not living in our shoes, obviously. So, you know, try to be more conscious with your decision making and with your perception.
So, yeah, this video was really weirdly structured, but I hope that kind of gave you a bit more of an insight towards Brexit, especially for young people.
Thanks for watching!
As she said, thank you for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe, and also hit the bell icon while you're at it. Comment below what you think about Brexit and what your opinions are. If there's anything you'd like to add, please comment down below. Bye!